I am Geoffrey in the 12th episode of the Kingdom of Sweden campaign from 1648, 30 Years of War, a kingdom's total conversion mode from medieval to total war by Infracted. We are in the month of September 1631. The winter has started early. This is a difficult time for everyone. Futures markets are built at Göteborg, Kalmar and Stralsund, a bell foundry at Dessau, banks and schools, and there is a massive reconstruction of the many buildings of Dresden destroyed during the war. Galileo Galilei finishes his dialogue concerning the two chief world systems. Hostilities cease between the Kingdom of Denmark-Norway and the Archbishopric of Bremen. After the conquest of Dresden, John Marquis has gained command experience, and Leonard the Fearless, also known as Robert Monroe, is now Bailiff of Dresden. Klaus Dietrich von Feldheim and Johann Banner are now drill masters. An imperialist army besieges Leipzig. Johann Casimir von Welen comes to the relief of the garrison commanded by Klaus Dietrich von Feldheim. The two imperialist armies have battle-hardened veterans and some Hussite wagons and are commanded by Captain Arnold Huyn and Johann Heinrich, the Graf of Dunewald. Several troops of imperialist cuirassiers moved to intercept Johann Casimir von Welen, who is approaching with a relief force under fire from the garrison of Leipzig. After some hesitation, having been bombarded by grenades from the walls, the writers of the imperialist armies decide to move towards the tertius, in which the men of Johann Casimir von Welen have deployed. First comes the enemy cavalry, the imperialist writers, and their first enemy general is slain, Hermann von Burgund. The enemy cavalry is pelted with grenades from our grenadiers, and some turncoats have formed the first line of defense. They have deployed at the edge of a long trench along the walls. Grenades and artillery are hitting the enemy horsemen. A second general is killed, Johann Heinrich.
The enemy general has no honor. He flees the field of battle and abandons his men.
The Graf von Dunewald, the enemy commander, the overall commander, has been slain. Our musketeers are firing at the approaching enemy units from the walls. Here are again von Welen's tertius on the edge of the trench. They fend off another cavalry attack. The grenadiers keep throwing grenades at the approaching enemy horsemen. More enemy horsemen come this way. They charge the tertius, and they have been fired at by the cannon of the Star Fort. Another Enemy cavalry attack has been repulsed. The Imperial tissue is now moving towards von Valent's units. They are being harassed by fire from the walls. They've lost many men and their lines are disorganized. Their ranks are in disarray, and suddenly they hesitate and hit by artillery from the walls of the Star Fort. They have been routed. The ground is strewn with the dead men of the Tesha. Very few will survive. Another Imperial Tesha approaches slowly. Von Valent's men under fire from the walls. They are being pelted with grenades.
The battle seems to be swinging in our favor. From such tidings does victory emerge.
Few men have survived passing through the walls, and this Tertia too has been routed. Now some enemy archers attempt to skirmish towards von Valent's units. They have been routed as well. It seems it is almost impossible to cross this point alive. Some musketeers now run the gauntlet underneath the bastion, being pelted with grenades, and they seem to have made it through, even if with heavy casualties. One of the enemy generals with his bodyguard joins them. And they seek cover in the trench underneath the Star Fort walls. And now we are coming to a serious point in the battle. The enemies bringing in the three groups of Hussite wagons. The wagons are being supported by scattered pikemen and some enemy turncoats. The wagons are slowly approaching the walls under fire. More turncoats are mixed here in the approaching Hussite wagons. And now the wagons have to run the gauntlet here under the bastion of the Star Fort. It seems they have timed their advance perfectly. It would appear that the grenadiers that were manning the walls have run out of grenades, so they pass through safely. Now this is a different proposition. Once these wagons start firing at von Valent's men, things will change. So everything now depends on our cannon from the walls of the Star Fort destroying the enemy wagons. The crews on the wagons have started firing There are muskets and the artillery, the cannon from the walls are firing at the wagons. The battlefield has been shrouded in smoke, and some enemy pikemen are advancing. One of the wagons has been destroyed by a cannonball. The rest stay here in the distance and keep firing at von Velen's tertius. Some of the enemy soldiers are being routed. Some archers that had come too near our lines. There's continuing fire from the wagons covering the advance of the enemy halberdiers and the enemy pikemen. In this position they are relatively covered from fire from the walls. It's a very good position for them to be very hard to hit. But it seems that the Hussite wagons, the crews on the wagons have started running out of ammunition. Here is our men, the men of Johann Casimir von Velen. They are moving up, advancing towards the enemy lines. They're repositioning themselves. The tank coats are on the front line. They are being backed up by post-reform pikemen. They are being fired at from the distance by the enemy musketeers. The Hussite wagons seem to have run out of ammunition. The enemy is being hit by artillery. The artillery fires at a difficult angle, so it's not very successful. Nonetheless, our units don't advance, so they don't get hit by our own artillery, and they make a good target for the enemy musketeers. Finally, our pikemen had enough. They decide to advance towards the enemy musketeers. Our tank coats accompany them, and our pikemen charge the enemy musketeers and halberdiers in melee, and our enemy flees. Here Johann Casimir von Velen with his bodyguard is taking prisoners.
The enemy are utterly vanquished. This is a great victory worthy of only the mightiest of generals.
So a victorious day for Klaus Dietrich von Feldheim and Johann Casimir von Velen. The enemy has been crushed. We had relatively light casualties. One of the units of late musketeers fired from the walls has killed over 600 enemy soldiers. In the meantime, our Chancellor Axek Oxestierna happened to be in Bromberg in Silesia and modern Poland at a time when a Polish army laid siege on the town. Captain Arnold Huynh comes to the relief. The garrison sallies out and brings the battle to the enemy. The Poles had laid siege with an army that had strong cavalry, and the enemy cavalry is being fired at from the distance by our musketeers. The musketeers slowly move forward, being covered by pikemen. Here some enemy cavalry are approaching our tertius. Winged hussars, they are being fired at by our musketeers. Some of the horsemen drop dead, and they charge our lines, killing some of our musketeers. The pikemen hold their ground, and the enemy winged hussars turn back. Our tertiary opens fire again at another approaching troop of winged hussars. The enemy horsemen are cut down to a man. More enemy units are approaching, some enemy dragoons, and yet another troop of winged hussars. They are being routed.
For the moment, the fortune of battle goes our way. Let's pray it remains as such.
They hesitate to attack our lines, they hesitate to charge, all the while they are being fired at by our musketeers. Eventually they seem to have made up their mind to move forward, even if more cautiously than is necessary. The slower they advance, the more they stay under fire. They keep losing men. Finally now they seem ready to charge. And they do charge one of our tertiaries. But it is a weak charge. They seem to have inflicted no casualties. Our pikemen hold their ground. The dragoons, interspersed in between the pikes, fire back. Some of them slash at them with their swords. Only a couple of our musketeers are killed. The enemy horsemen pull back, and then they charge another tertiary. They charge the musketeers. This time they are more successful. They are charged at an angle where the musketeers will not be covered by the pikemen, and a couple dozen musketeers have been slain. The enemy hussars move slowly back. They make another charge. This one is a very weak charge. They are being fired at by the musketeers, and this time they have been decimated. One of the cavalry, one of the enemy horsemen was sliding on ice, couldn't follow his mates. The rest of them have probably abandoned the battle. Here some enemy pikemen are slowly approaching. They are being held back by a hail of musket bullets. And our enemies, seeing that their cause was lost, that they lost their best units, that the winged hussars had been defeated, they are now abandoning the siege. And that was the end of the siege of Bromberg. Our tertius advances, the enemy flees.
The enemy are utterly vanquished. This is a great victory worthy of only the mightiest of generals.
So a heroic victory. The enemy has been defeated. They have lifted the siege. Once again, our musketeers acquitted themselves well, and some prisoners were taken and they were released. Still in Poland, still in this ghastly month of September, with the ground covered everywhere with snow, even Canada has better weather in September. Our General Joachim Killstrom is besieged in Liegnitz by an Imperialist army under Michael the Scarred. Captain Richard comes to the relief, and the defenders sally out to fight the Imperialists under the city walls. The enemy General Michael the Scarred is slain. The Imperial tertius make a show of resistance before marching off, lifting the siege.
The enemy are utterly vanquished. This is a great victory worthy of only the mightiest of generals.
Joachim Killstrom has achieved a heroic victory at the loss of only 78 men. One company of musketeers scored 429 kills. With Liegnitz safely in the hands of Joachim Killstrom, we enter the month of October 1631. The Kingdom of Spain has gone to war with the Margraviate of Baden-Durlach. A Spanish army is besieging Baden. Banks make money transactions easier through the exchange of currencies, which is very useful for Swedish soldiers fighting in Germany. Recent research, however, of the skeletons of those fallen at the Battle of Breitenfeld has revealed that most soldiers in the Swedish regiments were by this time of German stock. Robert Monroe indeed only mentions Dutch soldiers, that is, Deutsch, Germans, in his expedition. He never mentions any Swedish soldiers. Dresden is besieged by the armies of the Kaiser. Captain Alain comes to the relief of the Dresden garrison commanded by Robert Monroe, the bailiff of Dresden, also known as Leonard the Fearless, who is defending the city against Captain Desideratus. The Scottish Brigade is the perfect army to defend a star fort. The enemy commander, Captain Desideratus, is slain and the enemy army is destroyed. A rebellion in Sweden is easily crushed by Friedrich Philipp von Kardel. Our general rounds up half the rebel army and chastises them for their insolence, then puts them all in a ship and sends them off to build a Protestant cathedral in Elbing. As we lift the fog of war, we find Kaiserslautern still being contested between the Kingdom of France and the Archbishopric of Trier. The Spanish are besieging Baden, and the Ottomans are still besieging Raab and Austria. In the east, the Polish king, Sigismund Wasa the Maleveolent, has once again put Schrimm under siege. Schrimm is defended by Captain Rickes. Captain Richard comes to his aid. The Polish king has brought along a very typical Polish army without any pikemen.
Genius can bring us victory from this.
Our pikemen and dragoons fight the Polish king under the walls of Schrimm, supported by the garrison, who are firing at the approaching winged hussars from the walls.
Battle goes our way. Let's pray it remains as such.
though the attacks of the winged hussars are repulsed. The Polish army is decimated, but the battle ends in a draw.
Vanquished. Only death claims any victory on this field today.
And the Polish king maintains the siege. He cannot afford to lose face by lifting again the siege of Schrimm a second time. Let us hope his ambition to take Schrimm does not cost him his life.